Hello and welcome back to the channel. And I'm here to do another, we'll not call it weekly watches, because I think it's about 2 weeks of watches. Oh dear, Dobby is doing a wee snoring noise, so if you hear odd noises, that's what it is. So we're going from the 9th of July through to today, which is the 25th of July, with what I've been watching. Just a quick catch up, because I don't often, honest to God, is there going to be any more noise up the stairs in our house? Really? Do you think there was a herd of wild elephants? There's my son having a bath. That's what's happening. So let's get the old recorder on so that you can see what I've watched, and we'll get on with it. On the 9th, I re-watched Conjuring Haunted Asylum. Now, this is a movie I think I maybe gave a 3.5 or a 4 out of 5 when I first watched it. I've taken it down to a 3. Now, I remember when I first, and this is a perfect example of how sometimes you're in the right mood for a certain type of film and sometimes you're just not. When I originally watched this movie, this is a found footage. Dobby, what's wrong? No, she's going to stop it. This is a found footage movie about a group of paranormal investigators going into a haunted asylum and live streaming their entire what happened. The first time I saw this movie, there's a certain, like probably the last quarter of it, I found really creepy. Now, I find it really difficult to be frightened by movies, to get that sort of like creepy chill or anything, but with this one, it completely worked for me and I loved it. I hadn't seen it in, when did it first come out? 2018, so I hadn't seen it in a few years. And then Horror Hands did a video about this, which I will link below if I remember, please. But if I don't, search Horror Hands, this title, and he watched it and he really enjoyed it. He thought it was very slow for 3/4, but he really enjoyed sort of where we went and he thought it was scary. And it put me in the mood to watch it again. So, of course, I watched it again. Second time, while I still enjoyed it and while I still think it's a good movie and I would still recommend it to you, I didn't find the same part as scary as I did the first time. I don't think I was switched in enough. I think this movie needs to be watched in a dark room, preferably on your own, to get the full, properly immerse yourself. That old adage of the mobile phone, get rid of it. It destroys so many movie watching experiences, and the amount of movies that I say to myself, no, I need to watch that again. I was too distracted. So I've taken it down to a 3. I do still think it's a good movie and worth checking out. So what's next? Okay, next is a movie called Brick. This one is, I think, on Netflix at the moment. I've got such an itchy eye. Right, that's pish. I've put the wrong bloody... Right, let's watch this in real time, people. I've put the wrong film. That's not right. Can I delete this? Thank you. The movie was called Brick, but it wasn't that one. So you get to see me fucking up here. Well, you don't get to see this because this is out of the screen. Okay, so the next one, now that we've added the correct film, it wasn't Gordon Joseph Levitt. I thought my memory had completely gone. I'm so warm, I apologise. It's just really what they call clammy, humid today. Brick. So this is a movie that is on Netflix at the moment. When a mysterious brick wall encloses their apartment building overnight, Tim and Olivia must untie. Have you fucking heard me? Unite with their wary neighbours to get out alive. This was different. I really enjoyed it. As it says, outside all of their windows of their apartment, the entire building is encased by almost like a digital brick wall. And no matter what they do and no matter what they hit it with, no matter what they try and destroy it with, they try to shoot at it, they drill into it, they take a sledgehammer to it, they cannot get through this wall. But they can get through into neighbouring apartments, which is what they do. Team up with their neighbours and then they decide to try and get down. So they're going through roofs to try and get to the basement because there may be a way out down there. And that's pretty much what the movie is. It's like, what's going on? What's this wall? How are we going to get out? They meet other people trying to get out also. And it kept the suspense up for me. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the explanation for what was going on. And I really liked how it ended. I would recommend this. I thought it was excellent. So I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. Thumbs up from me. Has anybody else seen that because I'm not expecting you to... Oh dear. Right, 2 people I know have seen it. Joshua gave it a 2 and Ragman Physical Media UK gave it a 3. I liked it more than they did. I give it a 3.5. I'm finding that things that other people are absolutely loving, I'm not, and vice versa. So maybe don't listen to me. Just, well, case in point arrives now, Superman. Okay. I done a video about this and it's got over 1,000 views. For comparison, my videos never really crack 100 views. Some do, but not very many. I don't have very many people that watch my channel. Damn you all to hell. But those of you that do, I very much appreciate. So because I didn't like it, obviously people are watching it. I refuse to go into that and look at the comments because I'm not interested in people telling me I'm wrong. I'm not even remotely interested. How can you be wrong about an opinion? I strongly believe that you're entitled to like or not like a movie, regardless of what other people think, because everyone's taste is different and what everyone wants from a movie is completely different. So to tell someone they're wrong about their viewpoints about a movie is just fucking ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not going to even look at it. I went with my husband and son. We always do a review when we come out of watching a movie, and we did in that case. We all gave our opinions, no different than any other movie. So for context here before I start talking, I wasn't aware, this is all in this other video, so I won't go at much length. I wasn't aware of the whole James Gunn Snyder rivalry thing. I know a lot of people were pissed at what happened to Henry Cavill. I thought it was a bit shit, but he's entitled, if he wants to recast, he's entitled to do that. It's unfortunate, but anyway. Now, I am not a fan of Man of Steel. I think Henry Cavill is glorious to look at. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he fit the persona of Superman excellently. Did I like the Snyder movies? No, I didn't. It's just not really. Some I did. I didn't like Man of Steel, and was there a Batman versus Superman? Didn't like that either. Most of the movies, to be fair, with Henry Cavill in. Do I think that's because of Henry Cavill? No, it's completely the style of movie. Do I think the movies are bad? Absolutely not. They're just not for me. They're not to my taste. So me not liking this is sort all to do with the fact that I think Man of Steel's brilliant, and it's nothing to do with that. I've said many times Christopher Reeve is my Superman because he's what I grew up with. I love the first couple of Superman 1 and 2. The rest, not so much. But I grew up as a kid watching them on repeat. I would annoy my parents something shocking watching these movies. I loved Superman. Christopher Reeve was probably one of my first crushes as a very young child. Do I think that he can be replaced as my Superman? Never. But am I willing to give someone a chance? Of course I am. Now, when I saw the trailers for this, I thought it looked absolute dog shit. Everybody around me was getting excited and I'm thinking, what? The thing that irritated me loads was the dog. Now, if you know me, you will know that I love dogs more than most people. Dogs, just to me, are the most precious thing on this earth. I love my dogs. A CGI stupid dog, not so much. Put a real dog in. I don't mind if you have to put a bit of, yeah, okay, it flies. We know it's a fucking superhero dog, but the personality, yes, he maybe was like that in the comics. Full disclosure, I don't know an awful lot about, I know jack shit about comics, and you're all saying, well, there we go there, and that explains it. Do I feel that you need to have a massive knowledge of comics to enjoy one of these movies? I don't feel you should have to. I feel you maybe will get more from them if you have the knowledge of the source material. Of course I do, and I understand that. But I just didn't feel that Cornsweet, is that his name? I didn't feel he had any charisma. I didn't like, people talk about it being a movie about kindness, and I didn't feel that way. Like Rashad said in his review, he got his arse handed to him from start to finish. He's meant to be Superman. He got the shit kicked out of him from start to finish and had to be saved by a dog, for fuck's sake. Supergirl that appeared at the end was laughable. The humour was just ridiculous. It was like, what the fuck am I watching? I was checking my watch the whole way through. I just didn't buy him as Superman. I liked, I've forgotten the guy's name. Is it Mr. Fantastic or something? Mr. Terrific. Fuck, that shows you how much I know. Liked him. I thought he was the best thing about it, as most other people are saying. David Cornsweet didn't fit for me. The charisma that I was looking for in Superman was missing. I didn't feel he was humble enough. I felt he was too cocksure of himself. I felt that he had no commanding presence about him. You didn't look at him and go, wow, you're Superman. And I don't mean you have to fancy him. I just mean he just didn't feel like Superman to me. And I'm entitled to that. Other people are very happy and I'm delighted. There's nothing I enjoy as much as other people enjoying a movie. That's fantastic. Am I going to tell them they're all wrong? Absolutely not, because they're not, and neither am I. It wasn't for me. I don't get it. In the same manner, I watched the trailer for the Fantastic Four, and I think that looks dog shit as well. Will I go to see it? Yes, probably, because my son really wants to see it, as he did with this one. So I will go and see it, and I will keep an open mind and see what happens, see what I think. But that Superman movie, didn't like Superman, didn't like the dog, felt they glossed over things that were intensely important for things that weren't so important. They didn't go into enough detail about the conflict between the people they were trying to save. They just didn't do that story justice. There wasn't enough of a human angle in it. It just wasn't for me. What can I say? I didn't feel anything other than mild irritation. So on the 12th, this is a documentary on Netflix. Oh, don't fucking waste on it again. Stop. The cancer conflict. Not a very nice subject matter, I'm aware. This is a really interesting documentary about two people that are diagnosed with cancer, and they have very different approaches to treatment. One comes at it from a holistic viewpoint, natural remedies, and the other has the full everything that medicine can offer. And it follows their story through, and you can see what happens yourself if you watch it. I thought it was really interesting. I would only really recommend it if you enjoy documentaries, which I do, especially. True crime and like medical related ones are probably my favourite kind of documentaries. Okay, on the 12th I watched Trainwreck, The Cult of American Apparel. I watch most of these documentaries on Netflix, to be honest. This is just telling the story of people that worked for the company American Apparel and how they were treated and how the CEO is an absolute tit. And that's about it, really. It was okay. It was interesting enough. My computer, I'm going to throw it out the window in a minute. On the 12th, also, I watched A Good Enough Day. I've given this a 1 out of 5 because I couldn't keep awake. Now, other people have said this is really touching and really deep and really... This is a case of, was I in the wrong mood? This follows a guy. In a single day, photographer Tyler Hamilton attempts to overcome guilt and heartache in hopes of redeeming a decade of mistakes. So we get little ideas about this guy's life, about where it's going, about him looking to the past and things he's done and regrets. The whole movie is quite arty. It has lots of shots of him wandering about, looking at stuff and saying nothing. You could probably cut half of the time out and that would take out all the bits with no dialogue. It didn't work for me. I think the guy's performance was spot on. There was nothing I had to say negative about that, but I found it really dull. It just wasn't for me. It maybe is for other people. I found it really boring. What can I say? But looking on IMDb at some other people's reviews of this, some people were really, really touched by it. I just wasn't one of them. Next one, Strangers on a Train. So this is a movie from 1951. What are you doing watching that, Lisa? You're hardly the most cultured of people, and you'd be right. I was watching a stream, or was I on a stream? It may have been the stream I was on. It may have been Ollie's stream that I was on, and Andy, it's Forgotten World of Movies, was on, and he's on the one tonight. I shall be on a stream tonight if I get this up in time. Friday, 8 o'clock, the 25th, if I, like I say, get this up on Scott the Movie Critics channel. Really looking forward to it. Andy's on that as well. He was on this last stream I was on, and he mentioned this movie, and I had never heard of it, but I really liked the concept. So it starts with a shriek of a train whistle and ends with a shrieking excitement. Having met on a train, a smooth-talking psychotic socialite shares his theory on how two complete strangers can get away with murder to an amateur tennis player, a theory he plans to test out. So basically these two guys meet on a train. They don't know each other, from completely different walks of life. They both have someone in their lives. For one of them it's their father, for the other it's their wife, that they just wish weren't here anymore. And this guy says, well, I'll kill your wife if you kill my dad. And that's the setup of the movie. I won't tell you anything else that happens. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie, really good performances. It's one of those things, you don't often check out a much older movie unless you get a recommendation. And then when you do, like Little Shop in the Corner, Jamie Powell recommended to me. I really enjoyed that. It's a Wonderful Life, my dad always loved, and it's now one of my favourites. You don't think to check out older movies. I know I maybe don't, but yeah, it was a really, oh, it's an Alfred Hitchcock. But because we were talking about Alfred Hitchcock and the only ones I'd ever seen was The Birds and Psycho, I hadn't seen any others. Maybe, is there one called Rear Window? Don't know. Anyway, so he mentioned this one was one of his favourites, and I thought, yeah, that sounds interesting, I'll check that out. And yeah, it was good. Siam, what the hell's this? Is this the zombie one? Right, this is on Netflix at the moment. It is a martial arts based zombie movie. It's not too bad, it's okay. If you just want action and cool looking zombies, you'll like this. There's lots of gory action in it. The story's a little bit lacking. It's set in a hospital. There's a zombie-like thing spreading about. In a fight for survival against a horrifying army of zombies, a former Muay Thai? Is that it? Muay Thai fighter must use skill, speed and grit to save his girlfriend. I gave it a 2.5. I'm not into martial arts stuff very much, but I did appreciate the zombies and I did appreciate the gore. I just kept thinking, how can you be kicking these guys and hitting them in the face? What if you get your knuckles like bloodied? Just wasn't making sense to me. But yeah, it's worth a watch. It's fun, so I will say that much. Okay, that was the 14th. Balloon Boy. This is a documentary that's on Netflix at the moment. This is a true story. This happened 2009. So, in 2009, America watched with rapt attention a large balloon float through the skies of Colorado on live TV. So basically, this guy, he's an inventor, he makes loads of stuff. He makes this big balloon that looks like a UFO, and there's a little space below for someone to sit in it. Now, they have it in the garden, it's anchored down, but something happens, one of the tethers, and the balloon takes off. And one of the man's sons is shouting, it's all on home video, one of the man's sons is shouting, oh my god, whatever the kid's called. Is it Falcon? Is it Falcon? Anyway, whatever the kid's name is, one of the brothers is shouting, he's in it. So they think that their son is in this balloon. And it's all over the TV, not just in America. I remember in the UK, and they were following it, you know, like they do with car chases, they were following this balloon, and like this kid's meant to be in it. And then at one point something fell out of the balloon. Is it the kid? And eventually when the balloon came down, it showed it was all being filmed, the cops running for it, and the balloon was empty. Had the kid fallen out? Now, I'm not going to tell you what happens and what the background of this story is. You may well remember yourself what happened. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I remember it happening in real life, and the documentary I enjoyed. On the same evening, I watched Dead Mail. This one was actually quite interesting. I quite like this one. So, an anonymous help note finds its way to a 1980s post office, connecting a dead letter investigator to a kidnapped keyboard technician. Now, this is set, I think, in the 80s. Does it? It says 1980s, for Christ's sake. This feels totally like an 80s movie. The setting, the colours, the grading, the outfits, everything is amazing in the setting for this movie. It just feels completely right. It's quite dingy and dull. It's not that whole luminescence we get with Stranger Things, which is a part of the 80s, but it's this whole other grittiness that the 80s had. So this guy, he's a keyboard technician. He has been kidnapped. I'm not going to say why. And dead letter investigators, I didn't know what this was. There is a section in a post office where letters that come with not enough information to get to their senders, they try and find out, do a little bit of investigative work and find out where these letters should go. This guy that's been kidnapped has managed to get a letter into the post box outside of his house. He's chained up. He's managed to crawl to the post box. He's been caught and dragged back, but he manages to get something put in that post box that finds its way to this dead letter investigator, and they're trying to find out where it's come from, what's happened, and you just follow the story along. It is low budget. It is, I'm not going to say slow. It's very sedate. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I know it won't be for everyone. A lot of people will find it quite dull, but for me, I found it really engaging. I completely bought the characters. I cared about the characters. So yeah, I would thoroughly recommend Dead Male. On the same evening, this was quite a good night, I watched Else. I really enjoyed this one. This was really different. If you like body horror, you need to check this one out. So Angst has just met Cass when a mysterious virus breaks out everywhere. People's bodies are merging, a mysterious virus breaks out everywhere. People's bodies are merging, punctuation, Lisa, with objects. Stuck in their apartments, the couple must face this dreadful threat. So these two have met at a party. They're kind of just sleeping together. They're not in a relationship. She finds herself in his apartment, and this virus that's happening is all kinds of fucking weird. There's stuff about it on the TV. People are actually merging with objects like carpets, walls, wood, you name it. It's really weird, and some of the body sort of horror effects in this are fabulous. I love them. So they're basically stuck trying to stay normal, trying to stay non-affected, and there are really weird ways that you can be affected. I really enjoyed this. It was so totally different to anything I've seen. It is a bit, odd. You do have to completely suspend belief. I liked where we ended. I really enjoyed it. I can't say any more than that. I would thoroughly recommend any fans of body horror that don't mind a bit of weirdness to check out this one, Else 2024. Okay, on the next evening, I watched Little White Lie. Oh, this was really interesting. So, this is a documentary on Prime, I believe, about a girl that was born to Jewish white parents. Does it say when? It doesn't say. So, Lacey Schwartz grew up in a typical upper-middle-class Jewish household in Woodstock, New York, with loving parents and a strong sense of her Jewish identity. Despite the open questions from those around her about how a white girl could have such dark skin, she believes her family's explanation that her looks were inherited from her dark-skinned Sicilian grandfather. So anyway, not to read all of it out, this girl is very, very clearly not white. She's brought up by her Jewish white parents, and she has a Sicilian grandfather that it shows a photograph of, and he is dark-skinned, and she is brought up to believe that this is where she gets her looks from. Her hair's different. She grows up with no idea of her actual real culture and where she comes from. It is found out many years later that her mother had an affair with someone who was her real father. That's not spoiling anything. It's blatantly obvious when you watch this. And the guy was kind of a family friend, and he is her real father. This is really interesting because it talks about her identity and trying to sort of discover that whole side of her identity and her black heritage, and when she went to uni, joining groups with other young black people and having a real sense of herself. Her father, the father that brought her up, really struggles. Obviously she's not his daughter, and he's brought her up as his daughter, and he's always believed she was his daughter up until a certain point, and then he was like, I'm not too sure about this. It all come out after the parents split up, but the dynamic's interesting, and there's like really interesting conversations between her and her mother and her and her father. I just found it really interesting. So yeah, that's Little White Lie. So it's quite old. It's a 2014, and that's my thing switching off and on again. It needs to stop. Right, this one, I love this. The Parapod, a very British ghost hunt. Now, I would have given this a higher score if it had have been as good start to finish as it was for about half of the runtime. So this is a found footage movie. You won't believe it, but he will. A lifelong believer in the paranormal invites a hardwired skeptic on the road of the UK's most famous haunted locations in an attempt to convince him of the existence of ghosts. A journey of true discovery, shocks, emotional turmoil, hilarious conflict, and a bewildering climax. So, this is found footage. We have a skeptic and a believer, and the believer says that he is going to convince the skeptic by the end of this tour that ghosts are a real thing. So for disclosure, I love found footage. It's probably one of my favourite genres of horror, and I am a big fan of the paranormal. I believe in the paranormal. I've never saw it all, but I still am a believer. This made me laugh. It's not often I laugh till the tears run down my face at aspects of this where the skeptic is fucking with the believer. And there's a section in the middle. If you like Ricky Gervais style TV humour, I don't mean a stand-up, I mean like The Office extras. If you like that kind of like irreverent humour, just the way they deliver some of the lines in this feels very ad-lib. It was good throughout, but it was brilliant in the middle. There's like a section in the middle that I almost weed myself. I cried laughing. I was laughing out loud, and it's not often something hits me like that, other than Billy Connolly, who will always hit me like that, but this really made me laugh. But I know it's very niche, as in it's everything I love. I love the paranormal, I love found footage, I love that kind of irreverent, off the wall humour. It appealed to me completely. I give it a 3.5. I think that is on Amazon Prime or Tubi. I can't remember what I watch things on for the most part, but that's an old one. It's free on streaming. So yeah, have a check out if you like that sort of genre. But it really gave me a laugh. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'll not open up. I have done a separate video on this with loads of questions I had about it. I thought it was okay. I thought if you switch your brain off and don't think too much, it's fine. But if you start to question things, nothing makes sense. But yeah, it's not too bad. Amy Bradley is Missing is a new documentary on Netflix, true crime. This is about a young woman that disappeared from a cruise. It's not the one where the woman disappeared from the Disney cruise. This is a different one. They think this girl was quite possibly taken into sex trafficking, and there has been potential eyewitness sightings of her since this happened. It shows you footage from the boat. It shows you camcorder footage of her. It tells you who she was last seen with. We have eyewitness testimonies. We have interviews with the family. We have interviews with people that are convinced they saw her after this point. It's an interesting true crime story. They don't really reach any resolution though, I will tell you that. So if you watch it wanting to get a nice ending, we don't have a nice ending. We're still got loads of questions by the end of it, but it is an interesting show. On the same evening, I watched a movie called The Thaw. This is an older one too, 2009. This is Val Kilmer. Should I read this? At a remote Arctic research station, 4 ecology students discover the real horror of global warming is not melting the ice, but what's frozen within it. A prehistoric parasite is released from a carcass of a woolly mammoth upon the unsuspecting students, who are forced to quarantine and make necessary sacrifices or risk infecting the rest of the world. So this carcass is thawing, and with that, parasites that had infected it are escaping, and they look a lot like a cross between crickets and what's them wee hard thing? Cockroaches. We don't have really I've never seen a real cockroach. Do we have cockroaches in the UK? I don't know. It looks like a cross between a cockroach and a cricket, basically. It was interesting enough. It was fun enough. It's just like there's bits that are like really squeamy. The effects are good in this. The acting's all fine, but don't expect Oscar worthy. It's just a decent little movie, easy to watch. You're not going to be blown away, but I don't think you'll come away from it and say, well, that was shit. It passes a nice couple of hours. I don't even think it was that long. It doesn't say there, but yeah, it was decent. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Oh god, there's more than I thought. Wall to Wall on the 19th. What one's this? Yes, this one has got such a frustrating ending. Everything feels very much up in the air. I was enjoying this until it ended, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know when something ends and you're like, but what happened? This and that, and this is how you feel when you watch this. This is Korean. It is on, I believe, Netflix. A life of debt, of endless noise, am I to blame? A man who poured his life savings into a new apartment discovers its walls are full of disturbing noise, hostile neighbours and unsettling secrets. So the property market's terrible. This guy puts too much money into this apartment, and when he moves in, there's just constant noise, banging, shouting, loud music. It's almost intolerable. all may not be how it seems. He gets a tip off from a friend who knows someone that works in the stock market that if they make a bid on this particular, you know, if you buy, I don't understand stocks, if you buy certain stocks at the right time and sell at the right time, you can make a lot of money. And if it returns properly for him, he's going to be able to pay off his debts and keep his apartment. If it falls through, he's lost his place to live and he's got nothing and a ton of debt. It's very frustrating to watch it and be interested and follow it. And but what happened this, but what happened that. It didn't get the ending I wanted. And I don't mean by that things didn't turn out how I would have liked. I mean, you're left hanging. You're left like, but what happened with this and that? And but it was, up until that point, I was enjoying it. Maybe the ending won't frustrate you quite as much as it did me, but yeah, it's a decent little watch. A Complete Unknown. This is a new one about Bob Dylan. My eye is itching like crazy. Ow. Right, you can read what I wrote there. I am so fucking bored. From the director of Walk the Line, what the fuck happened with this one? I wrote that because I adore Walk the Line. It's my favourite music biopic. Now, I'm not a big Bob Dylan fan. I don't have any real feeling about Bob Dylan either way, but I really enjoy a good biopic. I just could not get invested in this. Now, I know some people love this movie. So again, is it the case of the not in the right mood at the right time? But I tried to watch it. I recognise that, I've forgotten the guy's name. The actor is doing a fantastic job at portraying Bob Dylan, but I couldn't have give any less of a shit about the film. That's the only way I can put it. And as you know, that's the kiss of death for me if I don't care, and I didn't care. So I didn't watch it all. Full disclosure, I did not finish this movie. I thought, do I want to waste another hour of my life watching this shit to feel the same way at the end? No, I don't. So I switched it off. And instead I watched The Ballad of Wallace Island, which was a really nice little movie. If you like, do you remember that one that came out about, it had two guys' names, Brian and something, and it was about this guy and his friendship with a robot. Do you remember that one? And then there's like animated ones about a snail. Oh Jesus, there's some people that will know exactly what I'm thinking and other people will be going, what are you talking about? This is what it's like living with me and my memory and my lack of research. Mary and something. They're animated, sort of like quite dull, grey, nice stories with really deep, meaningful characters. I know what I mean. If you like that kind of thing, I feel you'll enjoy this. This is a movie where not an awful lot happens, but you get to know the people and you get to care about the people and their foibles, and there's a journey, that sort of journey of one of the characters in it to a different place and a different understanding. So he's getting the band back together. An eccentric lottery winner who lives alone on a remote island tries to make his fantasies come true by getting his favourite musicians to perform at his home. So the guy you can see in the image there at the front, he lives, it says where it is. Is it Lindisfarne or something? He has won the lottery. He loves this little folk group that was this guy and his wife, and they're long split up. They're no longer together. But he is offering them this massive amount of money to come to his island and do a concert just for him. And the guy gets there. He thinks he's there to perform on his own. Finds out eventually that his ex-wife's there and she's meant to be performing with him. He's not entirely happy about that. Things are very different on the island. People are very different. Life's much simpler. People aren't bothered about the kinds of things that bother people that lives in towns and cities. It's just a very different way of life. In it, we've got Tom Basden, Tim Key and Kerry Mulligan. I enjoyed this. I thought it was a really sweet, nice little movie, and I really cared about the characters at the, by the end of it. It's the kind of thing you would like to know what happened next, where they went next, what they're doing. It's just one of those things that I think when you're a big fan of, say, a series, as an example, you grow to really care about the characters and what happens to them, and you miss them when the series ends. I remember when Medium ended, I'm like the Dubois family. I'm like, oh, but we're not going to get to have breakfast with them anymore and see what's happening. Or I felt the same about Gregory House. Dexter, I feel I'm blessed. We're back with another season, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. You just get to care about these characters and what happens to them. And I feel very much you care by the end of this about the individuals, even though it's a very sedate movie and not an awful lot happens. It's nice. It's a satisfying movie. I've started watching Untamed. I haven't reviewed it there because I haven't finished it yet, but it is looking pretty decent. I think I know where they're going to go with it. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll not say anything. But Eric Bana and Sam Neill's in this, Rosemary DeWitt, Lily Santiago and Wilson Bethel. Eric Bana, Jesus, he's shaped up all right, hasn't he, in his older age? What is it about men that they get better looking the older they get? It's really frustrating. Eric Bana looks shit hot. As I'm watching this, I'm thinking, you would have made an incredible Joel in The Last of Us. He looks just like the character Joel. Now, I do not share the consensus that Pedro Pascal is crap as Joel in The Last of Us. I think he's very good. I like Pedro Pascal. He is in an awful lot of stuff, granted, but I mean, if you're getting the jobs and you're working, are you going to take it? Of course you are. But I think Eric Bana, how he looks in this series, is perfect Joel material. Another thing I must mention about The Last of Us, I didn't think season 2 was anywhere near as good as it should have been. And I think that the actress that plays Ellie and the actress that plays Ali, is it Ali? Yeah, should have been switched. Although I think the actress that plays Ellie is a fantastic actress, and apologies I don't have her name off the top of my head, I don't think she's fitting for Ellie. I don't feel she's right for Ellie, but I do feel that the girl who I love, and I can't even remember her name, the one they brought in to play Abby, who we barely seen in season 2, I thought she would have been a fabulous Ellie, and the girl that played Ellie should have played Abby. What can we say? That's my viewpoint, having played the games. Finally, last night I watched The Conjuring for 2 reasons. Because the new movie's coming up, and I'm going to watch the others. And because I keep saying to myself, what's wrong with me? This should be like my favourite kind of movie in the world. This is my bread and butter. It's the sort of stuff I love. It's paranormal, it's ghosty wosties, it's true stories. It depends how much you buy into Ed and Lorraine Warren's story. But I really like Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. I think they're both brilliant. I just can't. I feel like they wanted to create that feeling that the original Poltergeist had. You know, where the ghost investigators come into the house and there's that sort of like warmness between them and the family. And that, I just feel they wanted to encapsulate that in this movie and they just couldn't do it. I don't know what it is about these movies. I enjoy them, don't get me wrong. I think they're good movies. But I feel like I should enjoy them. They should be so much more impactful to me than they actually are. And I don't understand why that is. Like I say, I enjoy them. Like the trailer for the new one looks fabulous. Of course I will go see it. But weirdly, the one I like the most of this series is probably the one everyone hated the most, which was The Devil Made Me Do It, which is a very famous true crime story. Maybe that's why I like it so much. I love that one. The rest I really enjoy, don't get me wrong. I give this a 3 out of 5, but I should be giving The Conjuring a 4 or a 4.5 out of 5. Just doesn't do it for me as much as I feel it should. So that, guys, is what I've been watching for the past couple of weeks. Let me know what you think of any of those watches that I've had. So thank you for watching, guys, and I look forward to speaking to you whenever the next one comes up around. I'm thinking potentially the Fantastic Four when we finally get to the cinema to see it. I'm busy all weekend, but we shall see. We might get to see it next week. So thank you for watching. Over and out from Lisa Loves.